Alright, on this episode of Leftover Makeover, we're going to be using hummus, tofu, and we're going to make a spread. So this is going to be like a breakfast situation for me. I usually do hummus on toast, or I do like, a tofu scramble or a whipped tofu ricotta. So this is going to be a play on that. So we're going to call this my hummus tofu spread. For this, you're going to need a food processor. So first, we're going to cut open and drain our tofu. I'm using the Trader Joe's sprouted extra firm tofu. I'm using both of these blocks. Then we're just going to crumble our tofu right into the food processor. To this, we're going to go ahead and zest a lemon and add that in. Then, from that same lemon, we're going to add all of the juice. Now we're going to process this until it's nice and smooth. You might have to stop and scrape down the sides periodically until you get it all well blended. Once it's nice and smooth, we're going to add in our hummus. I'm using the Myers Garden Fresh Gourmet Lemon Hummus. And we're going to blend it up again. After it is all combined, you're going to want to taste it and add your salt accordingly. You can also add pepper, whatever seasonings you want to add. I'm going to be adding some dried dill. You could also add nutritional yeast if you want to bump up the protein even more and add some umami cheesy flavor. Now, if you have fresh dill, I added about a half a teaspoon of salt to mine. If you have fresh dill, go ahead and use that. I only have dried. I'm going to be using about a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of dried dill. And then I'm going to blend it up again, but I'm only going to pulse it because I want to not completely destroy all of that dill. All right, so we'll taste it and adjust seasonings if we need to. And I think that's perfect. So we're going to take it out of the food processor and we're going to put it in a container and let it sit in the fridge. You can eat this right away, or you can let it sit in the fridge. This is literally, I use this as a topper for some sourdough bread. It's like hummus, but higher in protein. And this makes about 3 cups of this spread. And here is an example of how I use my tofu hummus spread. I have a slice of my homemade sourdough, and I toasted that, spread it on top, and then I topped it with a little bit of za'atar seasoning, and then topped that with some microgreens. And that is my breakfast for today. I hope you guys give this a try. Enjoy!